some of you know most of us, some of you don't, and that's the purpose to introduce coaches so you guys can see who are watching over your kids pretty much every day, okay? And I'll try to make it as quick as possible. We've got a PowerPoint set up here, and we'll go through introductions first here, and then we'll try to make it as rapid as possible. And then at the end, the four-person coordinating committee that we have set up, maybe you can link up with them so that we can talk about things that we need for like game days and away trips and things like that. Okay, and I'll introduce them as well. Okay. So for those that don't know me, my name is Bill Ratcliffe. They know me here at Patch as Coach Rat. I not only coach, but teach a lot of AP students as well. I've been Coach Hill's assistant for the last 3 years, and we've got a lot of new volunteers here. Coach Matsky, come up. Coach Matsky is helping with the varsity this year. He's my defensive coordinator. And Coach Taylor, of course, is back with us again, and he's head coach of the JV. We have a brand new addition to the staff, other dogs coach, Coach Roos. And it's his first shot out at it, so he's jumping in feet first. We have a number of volunteer assistants that have been kind enough to help us as well. Starting at the far end, Coach Olive, I was very pleased. He was on TDY here. He broke into coaching with me about 10 years ago in Vilsack, so it was like quite a shock when I met him at the end of the year. And he was happy enough to and gracious enough to extend his help till the end of October, 3 more months away from his family, to help us with this season. He'll leave at the end of October. It's Coach Jason Olive. Okay. Coach DeAndrea joined us a couple of weeks ago. His son plays on the JV team. We have 3 or 4 coaches that have coached with the CYS team, the Cowboys, and they're helping us out this year. Some are on varsity and some are in JV. Coach DeAndrea helps with the JV right now. Coach Mike Robson is also here. He's a soldier here on base, and he's also helping out with primarily JV, but also varsity. Coach Jordan works out a lot with the offensive line, especially on the varsity side. He also has a son playing who happens to be on one varsity lineman. Coach Joey Hernandez, his son is also up there on the varsity with us as well. Did I get everybody? Okay, so please give them a welcome. I appreciate it. I really appreciate their help. I've been a head coach before. I know what's expected of me. I know I have big shoes to fill. I understand that. I've been a head coach at Seoul America before. I've been head coach in Vilsack before. I've been head coach of many German professional programs over here before. And I played up until probably too late, about 5-6 years ago. I actually played up until that time. So right now it's just time to coach, and that's it. Coach and teach, that's enough for me. So I'm aware that it takes more than one person to run a successful program. It's not just myself. It's not just these coaches. It's the coordinating committee that I'll introduce in a second, and all of you. That's what makes this a team effort. Again, I coached in Vilsack, where I was used to doing everything myself. There wasn't a lot of parental support there. It was often all the parents would take their kids after a basketball game, and I, myself, my wife, and my oldest daughter would be cleaning that gym by ourselves. You don't see that at Patch, okay? And I really appreciate that, because I'm not an idiot. I know that I will only go as far as you guys can help take me, okay, and take the program. I can't do it by myself, okay? As long as you surround yourself with smart people, you're going to go far, okay? And I got a lot of smart people around me, so I don't have to be that smart, okay? First of all, before we get any further, I want to thank the team moms. I just call them coordinating committee because one person's really hard to do everything. And these ladies have been really good about stepping up right from the get-go and helping me out. It allows me to focus on the coaching aspect and not dealing with logistics. And that's Miss Nelson, first of all. Can you raise your hand? There you go. Yeah. Be great. Miss Carbajal. I wanted to make sure that we had representation from both varsity and JV parents. And they're both their JV parents. And I want to make sure we had a couple of varsity parents step up as well. And Miss Smith, are you here? Miss Smith's back there. She just flew in. And Miss Ms. Puentes has also done some stuff. So, those 4 ladies, I really appreciate you guys stepping up. It'll make all of our jobs a lot easier. And for things like spirit wear and courting food and things like that, it would be great if you guys could pass most of those questions to them. Anything football related, like times we're leaving and stuff like that, send them to me, okay? Now, I'm not a Facebook guru, okay? I don't have my own Facebook, and I put on what I'm allowed to put on, but there's a reason I haven't put on any stuff on about the trip coming to Hohenfels. Obviously, I'm putting out our entire itinerary on a Facebook venue. That kind of stupid with terrorist activity and stuff like that, okay? So that's why I didn't put it on there. We will be coming out with parent newsletters and stuff like that, okay? So, ready? All right. So anyway, get to the newsletter. We'll hopefully everybody, if you can check your email at the end of this if you don't have your email.
Yeah, back in the back, I got 3 sheets in there, 3 different lists. If you just check one of the lists and put a check mark by your name, then we know you were here, and we also know if there's a mistake in your email or your phone number.
Okay.
What about adding an email?
Yeah, to add it.
You can add an email
All
as well.
contact information you think we need, because if we need to call you or your spouse, that's the first place we're going to go, and then we're going to have to go look up the information sheets. But all the coaches will have that contact immediately available, and it'll be much quicker.
I've always run a very transparent program. I have nothing to hide. You're certainly more than welcome to come to the football field anytime. You can come by my room before school starts or anything. I'm very transparent. Just if you do come out there on the field, just be courteous and don't try to coach your children while we're trying to coach them, okay? That's all I ask, okay? We need that information currently for a couple reasons. One, so that you can find out, I know kids don't always tell parents what's going on. I know it's a shock. I did the same thing myself. But we can make sure that at least the parents get the stuff, okay? The other reason is, God forbid, if something happens to one of your kids while we're on a trip, and I have to get in contact with you, it's nice to be able to quickly get on my phone and let you know that, hey, they're in good hands, this is what's happened, this is what I'm doing to take care of it, just so you're not worried, okay? Because you gave me a special charge to take care of your kids, and I take that serious, okay? I have kids in high school as well, and your kids are the most important things to you. They're treasures. I understand that, but when they're with me, they're my treasures. They're my responsibility, okay? I take that very serious, okay? So, hotel, go back. All right, so location, we'll show departure time from PHS. You probably already heard, would like the kids here at 6:45 on Saturday to go to Hohenfels. We were lucky enough to get varsity and JV this year. Last year was just varsity. The bus will be here about 7. We'll start loading the bus. It takes 20 to 30 minutes to get all that stuff squared away, and then we'll head out. I really appreciate Ms. Nelson helping coordinate the TMP buses. I went to a couple German bus companies. Could not get us anything. This is a busy time of year. She was able to coordinate with Magic. Within a couple days, we had buses to get us to Hohenfels and back, okay? If you take the money out of the student activity fund, I'll pay that once hopefully they show up Saturday. I don't know what we're going to do. We don't. I guess we're hitchhike, I guess. But to show departure time, we should be there about 11 o'clock. That's why we're trying to coordinate. We thought a brown bag thing would be working well. If you've been to Hohenfels, you know their food court is not set up to handle 2 buses of 80 players, and you don't want them eating that stuff anyway right before you play a football game. So the intent was, after we eat, we'll head out. There's an exit right outside Hohenfels as you get on the Autobahn at Harzburg, McDonald's. That's my own stomping grounds, unfortunately. And so I know that McDonald's well. We can eat there and then head on back. There should be a straight shot back to Patch. And I'm guessing the scrimmage will end around 4:35-ish. If that's the case, by the time we eat, shower and stuff, I'm thinking we can be home between 9 and 10, depending on traffic, that sort of thing, okay? We typically have players call about 30 minutes out, right when we get to that Autobahn intersection with 81 and 6. Say, all right, call your parents to make sure they're here. I'm not a mercenary here, please understand this. But I also have a family of my own to get home to. So I don't mind waiting a little bit, but if it's like an hour, I had parents in Vilsack that would come whenever they wanted to. So, and I had an hour and a half drive home. We'd get there at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'd be waiting till 4 o'clock sometimes for parents to pick up players. And to me, that's just not right. So I had to put in there, hey, if they're not here within 15 minutes of arrival, and I don't know anything about it, I will bring them to the MP station, let the MP station make sure they can contact you, and you can pick your child up there, okay? I just don't want them left out here. I'm a very protected person. I know that they're young men, but I also know how I was when I was a young man. Okay? And I just don't want to take any chance of something stupid happening to them or by them. Okay? So, food and other issues, what we're going to talk about there. Oh, healthy snacks on the buses. Should be bringing water, not monster drinks. They shouldn't be drinking that stuff at home anyway, okay? Don't let them get into the cherry pie fruit filling like I used to get into for snacks at night. That's not good. Phone numbers, emergency numbers. Oh, and for those who don't know, Ms. Kozak set up a Stuttgart HS football Facebook page. That's where most of the information went out. We didn't know until the last minute what was going to happen with this program, with coaching and stuff at the end of last year. So we set this up really quick. It's been pretty successful. Keep in mind, I do not live on Facebook. Okay, I do not get on there unless I have to put something out. So it's not going to be doctored up pretty or anything like that. It's just for information. That will probably be superseded now by most of the newsletters. You shouldn't have to go to Facebook a lot now. Did I cover everything on that, Coach? All right, next slide, please. Next slide, please. There we go. All right. All right. There are various things that have to be done. Camp was a pain in the butt to coordinate from because I'd have kids coming in conditioning, giving me one form here. The next day, give me another form that was stepped all over, trying to consolidate it. And camp required to have a physical on hand. We normally don't handle physicals. That's all done through the nurse. But I was required to make sure that I had a physical on file, sat right next to their camp director, their nurse, to make sure that everything was checked, which is a good thing, to make sure that everyone's safe. But I had to collect that plus interim travel forms. That had superseded or supplanted the old power of attorneys. It's just a way of me being able to take your kid to the clinic if something bad happens to them, okay? I just want to make sure that they're not miserable and in pain, okay? But once we did that, some people didn't hand me these separate. They gave me in a big packet. So when you start taking this file here and this file here, sometimes the packet does not stay together. And I apologize for that. Okay, because I know that there are some kids, I know clearly, 3 weeks ago, we had packets in our hands from these players. I know that, okay? And I would be upset as a parent if I had to redo this. But the bottom line is, you can yell at me, and I'll take responsibility for it, but there's a loss of chain of custody. When you have players handing this packet to this manager on Tuesday, they catch this one here on a water break here, sometimes things get lost. I apologize for it. I'll take responsibility for it. I'll try to make sure that that doesn't get lost anymore. But the bottom line is I still have to have that stuff, okay? So if your kid came home and said, I need this, this, and this, just please do the best you can to fill it out. Okay? Main things are the interim travel form, code of conduct. Every year somebody does something dumb because the human brain does not develop fully until you're about 39, 40 years old. It doesn't. I'm telling you the truth. Okay? And they do some things that just don't make sense, and you ask them, why did you do that? And they say, oh no. They probably really don't know. Okay? They just don't know why they did it. So, to make sure that they're not fighting in the food court, we got to make sure that there's certain behavior expectations, okay? Being nice to teachers, not disrespecting teachers, not trashing other people's locker rooms, not fighting with each other in the Vilsec food court. These are all things that have happened before, by the way. Shoplifting. Shoplifting at an airport as you're about to board a plane. That's happened to me before. You name it, okay? Anything bad that can happen, could happen. I have to be ready for that, okay? So that's why this stuff has to be filled out, okay? Some parents just mistakenly, I do the same thing all the time. I'll sign my name where the date's supposed to be, not thinking, I said, oh, I really screwed that up. Some parents signed that you know that you have to be responsible and not drink alcohol and tobacco. And I appreciate that. But it's really for the kids to sign that. Okay? So, they have to have current sports physical. I have given every sports copy of sports physical that you guys gave me to the nurse. She has been scrubbing that list and sending updates sometimes 3 times a day to us and saying, hey, you may have had this one, but it expired last week, okay? They're not even supposed to be on the football field practicing if they don't have a current physical, okay? So if they don't, just go to on the economy. I know it may cost a little bit, but they're pretty quick with it, and it's done, and it's good for a year, okay? There's not too many we have in that situation. I think it's onesies or twosies there, okay? Interim travel form, again, is power of attorney. It's just a way. I promise I'm not going to have your kid's leg amputated or anything like that. I'm not going to make those calls for you. Probably a couple of them probably wish I would, like cut their hands off or something like that. But I won't do that. I just want to make sure I can take them to the clinic if something bad happens. Okay, that's all I need. Some people are involved in sports outside Dodge. Rugby. This isn't soccer season, but you do have club soccer. Some people play club soccer, basketball, and there's wrestling, and there also is club football going on. Okay, this is not my rule. This is Dodge rule. If you miss a Dodge practice, not just a game, a practice, and you go to a club practice or club game instead of that Dodge practice, you're immediately expelled and forfeit the remainder of your season for the Dodge sport. Okay? This is not my rule, it's Dodge rule, okay? And I know some parents have kids that are doing both, and I'm all for that, but you're going to have to make a choice, okay? You really have to make a choice. Because if you were to circumvent that, say they're sick, and miss a practice or a game, and someone else were to find, people rat each other out all the time, hey, he was at this game here, that causes problems, okay? Please don't put me in that position, okay? So, if they're committed to this, they have to do this, okay? Substance abuse, what we're going to say about that? I already did, all right. Inherent risk, there's one of those forms in the athletic packet is an inherent risk form. The reason that there's paperwork in this packet is because something has happened at some point in time where Dodge felt it necessary to put the paperwork in there, okay? Football is a violent sport. It can be very violent. I don't need to tell you guys about all the issues last year, okay? Especially the helmet stuff and a number of things, okay? They took this serious, at least part of it they took serious at the summer camp. This is probably the least I've ever got to supervise my kids, and I felt horrible about it, but they had us coaches in meetings non-stop while these kids were practicing. There were other coaches there, of course, but they wanted to make sure that every coach in every school is properly certified and trained on how to fit helmets, measure them. Every one of our kids have been fully measured, not just the helmet on it, shook it to see if it's right. Yeah, how does it feel, that kind of thing. Everyone has been measured. Shoulder pads have been measured. Every screws have been tightened. We made sure we went through 2 solid weeks, every single practice, how to properly do the gold standard, which the NFL has spent millions of dollars on, sending people to the camps to teach the coaches how to properly tackle. Yeah? And I went through every single practice with them, personally demonstrating. So our kids have been taught the right way. Now, once they get out of the game, sometimes kids forget fundamentals and that head drops. But if I see it, I'll pull them out, okay, and make sure that they understand it's not the correct way to do it. I cannot speak or coach other teams' players. Okay? All I can do is point out to the officials, okay, that they're doing it improperly, okay? But our kids have been taught the right way, okay? I went through every single practice myself, okay? And we went through this training practice. Every one of us required to go through this to get certified. Coach Matsky and I did. We were the representatives for our school, and we taught it just by the book, okay? And that's what we've been doing out in practice, okay? And the kids are getting a hang of it, okay?
I just wanted to clarify something on the Dodge over non-Dodge. We're not saying they have to quit the non-Dodge event. It's just if it comes in conflict one day, they got to practice, our practice and their practice coincides, they got to choose ours first. They can do both, just that they can't conflict. If they do, choose ours, and they
That's a
can
good point, Coach. I hope I didn't misspeak there, okay? Anything else on this? Next slide, please. All right, this is I like to say it's final schedule, but I know how things happen here in Dodge. Right now, this is the most current schedule that they have. It was put final on the email that I got, and as soon as I found out about it, I put it on Facebook. Hopefully you guys saw it on the Facebook page, okay? I know you guys are trying to make plans. As soon as they had the schedule somewhat finalized, I got an email from my principal. K-Town wanted to have a Friday night game. I think that's a great opportunity for kids to experience something that stateside kids get to do. So I know it's a little bit more inconvenient. I miss half the school day too, and I don't like to miss school for anything. But I jumped on it so the kids could have a Friday night light game, and I hope you understand. I know we get back late. It's a late day for all of us. I'm going to be tired too, but I wanted them to have that experience. Okay? And that's why I jumped on it. So if you're upset, bark at me, not anybody else. It was my decision. Okay? JV2, typically when we have games like that, JV starts at 4, go to about 6:30 or so. Varsity kicks off at 7. We should be done around 9:30, 10 o'clock. We shower, we load up the bus, and we head out. Now, anytime that you guys want to take your kid after the game's over, and you want to stay in Ramstein for the day, or go on a trip to Paris or whatever, we're okay with that, but you need to go sign out your child, like a hand receipt, from one of the coaches, just so I know where they're at and they got safely home, okay? Because I would never live with myself. If one of you guys thought they were with me and I thought they were with you and they're still at somewhere else, okay? That would be a horrible situation, okay? The rest of the games are up here. I'm not going to insult your intelligence and read it. We do have one open week, September 27th. As it stands right now, we do not have plans for a varsity game. There is a high probability, though. We're going to try to put a JV game in there against the Holtzgerling and Twister. We have a pretty good partnership with them, and there's a good chance that we'll set something up and play on what they call the beach, okay? One other thing about Holtzgerling, I want to tell you, my son plays for the Flaggy program there. I had one of their coaches played for me about 10 years ago in the German leagues, and they have a pretty good relationship with them. Their coaches actually volunteered their time, took off work the entire 2 days. Their senior players, or the junior coaches, came out here, and we had a coach here last week, took off work for 3 or 4 days, helping us. I mean, that has been huge, huge beneficial, because very seldom when you see a program, I don't care if it's 80 players or not, with 15 coaches out there. And the more coaches you have a lot of extra eyes out there, it really helps the kids. And the kids are really appreciative of it, and I really appreciate them help. So periodically we'll have them come out if they have time to help us out with that, okay? We only have 2 home games unless we take care of business and host a playoff game, which means we'd be either number 1 or number 2 seed. We've been threatened by the YS that we should not have that because it creates field problems there. And I said, I'm the wrong person to threaten like that, okay? Because I plan on being there, okay? I mean it facetiously. They really threatened me. He goes, hey, it'd be nice if you didn't have to host here. And I said, well, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I plan on hosting, okay? But we got to take care of some things before we get there. Championship games in K-Town, just like it was last year. Hopefully we'll be playing in that game as well, okay? This is the GPS for Hohenfels. Anyone here unsure about how to get to Hohenfels, you can certainly see me after the meeting breaks off. The buses will have to come in the back gate. That's how I have to sign them in. And it's a little trot through the training area a little bit. If you come through the front gate, which I believe is this particular zip, it'll at least pass you right by there. As soon as you come in the gate, the school and field are right there on your left. It's very easy to find. It's not like a traipse through the entire base or anything like that. Okay? Let me see anything.
Policy on kids traveling with other kids home with their
It's
parents.
coming up. There's a slide.
Got it. Next slide, please. All right, missing practice. I expect players to practice. If you're not able to, you need to come up with some kind of note. I've let kids and parents see the player has got a boo-boo or something and say, hey, I just want you to tell the coach to take the day off, okay? And I normally bond with that player and say, look, I understand that. I understand the parent's concern. I'm a parent as well. I want to take care of my kid. But you're also missing some important things that you could be watching and paying attention to if the boo-boo's not that serious. If they're sick, I don't want them out there in the rain. I don't want them any more sick. I don't want them passing the sickness on to anybody else. Okay? But there's some things that they can actually watch and participate with without having to be involved. Okay? If they're going to miss something that's really a sickness or injury something, just get a note for me. That's fine. Okay? I'd rather the doctor, I'm not a medical expert either. I can do basic things, but I'd rather the doctor say, hey, this guy should be practicing for a week. I'm okay with that. There's a difference between practicing with a boo-boo and being injured. Okay? I don't want, and I tell the kids that the first day, if you feel uncomfortable, do what you can do, and when it feels uncomfortable for you, step out. I'm okay with that. No one will say a word to you. Okay? Same with water. If you need water, get water. You don't have to ask me for water. It's not like us when we were growing up playing and the coach held water over as the carrot. You do this, if you don't do this in the next 3 hours, you don't get water. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Kids need water, they get water. That's the way it is, anytime they need to. Okay?
The note. One of the things we're concerned about for the note is a kid comes up to me in the hall and says, Coach, I got a doctor's appointment, and it's out of my head at that moment. So if they just give me a note saying I have a doctor's appointment, not the parents have to write it, the kid has to write it. I get it, then I put it with my football stuff when I'm taking attendance, then I recognize, oh yeah, Johnny went to the doctor.
It's just easy for us to forget. We're all teachers here. I get a couple hundred kids talk to me a day. 5 of them will stop me in the hallway before I get 10 yards. And I just don't remember everything. I try the best, but I just don't. Okay? And it's better if I have something I can make, I got to remember to do this. Okay? I remember this person's missing here. Somebody gave me €100 yesterday, and it took me 7 hours to figure out who had given me that money and why. Okay? I mean, I thought I was really rich for a second, but it's unfortunate. All right. Okay, unexcused absence. We're understanding about a lot of things. We really are. But if a kid just doesn't show up and doesn't tell anybody, that's an unexcused absence. Okay? I'm okay with trip. I don't like it when you guys take your kids out of trip and they miss a game, but you're in Europe. I understand. I really do understand it. Okay? But please try to give us as much notice as possible ahead of time so that we can make adjustments, and I'm not giving that kid reps and then find out Thursday before he play a game Saturday that I have to put another player in there. Okay? It's just a matter of common courtesy. Okay? I would ask you this. I know it's not on here, but I would ask you this, please. I've changed my opinion about a lot of things over the last 30 years, and I was brought up like many of you were. Okay? Don't clean your room, you're not playing, you're not going to practice, okay? That's the way I was brought up, okay? But as I got older, I understood when you do that, you penalize a lot more people than that player, okay? It's not fair to the teammates, it's not fair to the coaches, and there are probably other ways you can punish them. I was brought up with that Hot Wheel track across my butt. That's how I was brought up. My mom used that orange Hot Wheel track, okay? Obviously, you guys don't do that anymore. If you do, I don't want to know about it. Okay? It's none of my business. But there are other ways. There are other ways you can get your point across. Okay? In class, I seldom have to yell. I can make a good point without bringing my voice above a normal speaking level, and I guarantee you that behavior is corrected. Okay? So I'm not telling you how to parent. I'm just saying, please don't use that as a punishment to pull a kid from practice or a game. Just think about that, because it does affect more people than just that player, if you would, okay? It's your prerogative as a parent, but I would ask you to consider it on behalf of me, okay? On behalf of me and the coaching staff. Let's see, players must attend. Yeah, Dodge rule. You can't just like sleep in, sign in like afternoon, and then expect to play in a game. You have to be in school the full day before a game. It's Dodge rule, okay? So you can't just like miss part of a Friday and expect to play. Unless there are stipulations. If they had a doctor's slip or something like that, and the office knows about it beforehand, that's okay. I know this may shock you, but there are teachers at the school who will maybe intentionally go after a player or after the football program and say, I know for a fact that this kid was not in my class, and they'll be the first to go there to Mr. Robinson and say, football player, ineligible. Okay, that's exactly what they do. Okay, and I'll get the email. And yeah, it's petty, but it's the rule, okay? So just try to make sure that you cover your bases as well. That's all I'm saying, okay? Next slide. Any unexcused target will result in making up instant conditioning. We go a step further. It normally only bites us hard the first couple of weeks until kids realize, yeah, you have to have your mouthpiece when you play football. You don't want your grill broken, okay? Yeah, you need your spine pad, or it's called the butt pad. You got to have it. One time you land on your butt without that thing, you'll realize, man, that would have been a nice thing to have that. Now, we had a couple of issues the last week where a player forgets theirs, look around, and they'll grab Johnny's. We have some Johnny's on the team, right? Yeah, so grab Johnny's. Name Johnny Nameless, okay? I can't control everything, but the players know how I feel about that. I better not find out that somebody's stealing from one of their other brothers on the team. Okay? I'm the same way with valuables. They should be bringing valuables anyway there. Everybody should have a combination lock on the locker. Helmets are clasped to it, that kind of thing. Okay? Let's see. Okay. If they miss an excessive amount of practice, bottom line is I shouldn't be putting them in the game anyway. Okay? If they're missing a couple days of practice, excused or not, they're probably not going to be as sharp as they need to be on game day. Okay? I'm not doing it out of spite. You aren't here at practice. You're not playing. That's not the way I do it. But the bottom line is if you aren't repping that, you hurt the team. You hurt yourself. You hurt your teammates. Okay? So the more the practice they miss, the less playing time they're going to get on game day. This is not a YS program. It's high school varsity sports. And if you've been to reputable stateside programs, and I tell the kids this all the time, you've got a gold mine here. You're playing a varsity sport. As a freshman, most southern schools, you don't sniff the field unless you're a senior. Okay? That's just the way it is. Okay? And kids, I don't think they embrace that opportunity, understand how lucky they have it here, where they have, I know it's not great, My brother coaches a 6A program in Oklahoma, and they have 10 regular season games, 4 playoff games. They never make the playoffs, but they have them, okay? We only have 5. We have 5 games. If we win, we might get a 6th game, and if we win again, we got the 7th game. Woohoo! Okay? That's half of what you get in the States. But we do the best we can with what we got. Okay? All right, next slide. Okay, they have to ride the bus there. There are special circumstances. I don't know, maybe a test or something like that. I hope that's not
SAT or something like that.
SAT. Those things,
Family trip type.
those are case-by-case basis things. But I'm talking as a rule, they're expected to ride the bus to the games. Again, once we finish the thing, you can take them home. It's all right, as long as we know about it and you sign them out. If they want to ride with another set of parents, I have got to know that in advance, okay? Because sometimes kids make deals without parents knowing about it. I know this because I used to do the same thing, and I have children as well, so I know how this works. So if that happens and you're okay with it, that's fine. But I have to know about it ahead of time. I need to see a note. It's okay for Joe Bob Smith to ride home with us after the game. It's okay with you and your name signed. I'm okay with that because I'll keep that as for my records, okay? Make sure. I just want to make sure that they're not off gallivanting around. I had that happen once. 2 players made a deal and they went out downtown drinking, okay? And I thought the parents were in the loop. Of course, the parent called me, "Oh, where's Joe Bob?" "Oh, I don't know." It's not something you want to tell a parent. It's not something a parent wants to hear. Okay, so I want to make sure everybody understands that I'm okay with it as long as I know about it in advance and somebody signed something. Okay. Players missed the bus in the morning. All right, yeah. I'm not somebody that will wait for, if I tell them we're leaving at this time, I will not wait. Sometimes life lessons are hard, okay? But I guarantee you at one time that player will never be late again. I know sometimes it's on the parents, but I have a schedule to maintain, okay? And it's not fair to penalize 70 players because one person didn't get up in time for whatever reason, okay? So I will not wait. I will pull out when it's time to go, okay? I don't care if he's a captain of my team. Everybody understand? I hope everybody understands that, okay? You won't be allowed, you can drive them up there, they can watch, but I won't put them in the game. Okay, it's just not, I'm not supposed to do it anyway by DODIA rules. Okay? Next slide. Grades. Oh my God. First 2 weeks are a monster in school. I know it. I'm a teacher. Okay? That's why I put class participation grade in first grade because of athletes. Because sometimes they forget to turn their homework in. A 0 is very difficult to dig out of that hole with, okay? Other teachers aren't like that. You miss a day because you're sick or something, they'll stick missing in there. That counts as a 0. I cannot control that. I have to go by what Mr. Tingey, the athletic director, sends to us on Wednesday morning saying these kids are eligible or they're ineligible. But I will have the courtesy and I will go to that player. I will seek them out during the day and say, hey, we need to talk. You're not going to be able to play this week. You can practice, but you can't play because your grades aren't up to par. Okay? I don't have a Coach Carter's higher standard than DODIA. I'm going to go right by what DODIA standards are, okay? And the rule is, if you come into that season ineligible, means fourth quarter, second semester grades from last year, and they were under a 2.0, they get on a 3-week monitoring check, in addition to the 2F check. And if they're below, anytime that 3-week monitoring check's done, and they're below 2.0, they're automatically dismissed from the team. That's not me, that's DODIA rules, okay? In addition, every week, everybody has the 2F check, okay? If they have more than 1 F, 2 Fs, they cannot play for that week, okay, until eligibility is reestablished. If you go about 3 weeks like that, according to the athletic packet, I have the prerogative, if I want, to say, Johnny, this is probably too much for you. You probably should be focusing on your grades. It'd be nice if you did that. I'd like to see you next year when your grades are back up to speed. I don't have to do that. It depends on the situation, okay? I look at teachers, work ethic, study habits, those kind of things. Sometimes the person needs help and just doesn't grasp things. I understand I'm a teacher too, okay? We'll try to get that person help, okay? We work NHS, there's tutoring, there's a number of things that we try to do to bring kids to success. on the academic field there. Okay? They're monitored weekly. I don't have anything to do with that. Mr. Tingey, the athletic director, takes a list of all of our players, cycles them through, and out spits this number. And everybody listed in red, and he'll have the sport listed. We'll get the list. We'll say, all right, we got these 5 guys can't play. Okay?
I'll take a sneak peek on Monday and try to correct any problems.
Any questions on eligibility? Next slide. Tutoring. I hate for people to miss practice because of projects and stuff like that. Let me reword this. If a student has projects that should have already been done and they just procrastinated, like moi, I did it a lot, I have a hard time stomaching the fact that they should miss practice to go do something they should have already taken care of. But if a kid needs help and they're maybe a makeup test or something, they're sick, I'll be the first person to say, hey, go take care of your grades. As soon as you're done, come back out here and warm up. Okay, I'll do that. But if it's something that I find out that should have been done ahead of time that they just didn't do, I don't have much pity for them. That's on them. Okay? Yeah, that's all right. Go to the next slide. We're going to talk about injuries. Again, I'm very sensitive to injuries. I don't want people walking around like I do. If you watch me during a school day, towards the end of the day, I'm hobbling like Quasimodo. And I did it because I felt, and in the States it's still like that to some extent, that if I missed the practice because I was injured, coach would take my spot and put somebody else in there. And I felt that I could not miss it. I don't want kids to be me. Okay? It sucks just going to the bathroom sometimes in the morning when I'm walking like this. And I don't want kids to have to do that. If they're injured, they're injured. That's fine. But I expect them to be sitting off to the side somewhere if they can. If they're injured where they shouldn't be out there, we'll tell them to stay home. And I have done that already this year a couple times. Okay? If you know that they're hiding an injury, when you're a parent too, you know when something doesn't look right. I call them goose eggs. I call them pop knots. Sometimes when you whack your elbow and it swells up a little bit, that's part of the game. They look bad, and a couple days later they go down. A couple hours they go down, you put ice on it, okay? You be the judge. You know what your kid's tolerance for pain is. Some people's tolerance is higher than others. Some people's is not. But if they're really hurt, please at least let me know what's going on. If you have to take somebody to the hospital or something, I need to know. I'm required to file a report to the office anyway. And I don't sleep well if I know one of my players are hurt and I don't know what's going on. Okay? I was up all night last night. I had 2 players, and I didn't even see them get hurt. They were on the other side of the field, and I was up all night because I was concerned. I didn't know how they were. Okay? That's just me. Okay? So please have the courtesy. Call me. I even put my cell phone on Facebook. Okay? I did that early on, and some parents have called me, so I know it's still out there. Okay? Please let me know what's going on if the kid's hurt, so I have a better feeling about it. Okay? All right. Especially with head injuries, okay? That is a big thing. That's one of the reasons they sent these NFL coaches and high school coaches to the Ansbach Clinic to talk about heads-up tackling, okay? Next slide. If I missed something, guys, you got to tell me. Earning varsity letter. Stateside programs have very complex schemes sometimes to earn a varsity letter. I remember for myself, track, you had to place in a track meet to get your letter. Well, I wasn't the fastest guy out there, so I knew my chances were slim unless it was a meet where there weren't many very good fast players out there, okay? So here it's not like that, where you have to participate in X amount of fundraisers to get points, and you have to do this, you have to play X amount of minutes. We don't have the way of tracking that kind of stuff anyway. It's just too much. I'm happy to get the playoff, make sure the players are safe, have fun, and win some games. I don't have the ability or support, logistical support, to be able to track that kind of stuff. How many minutes did Steve play? If he played 87 minutes, then he's eligible to get a varsity letter. We don't have that. Very simple here. They need to finish the season in good standing. What does good standing mean? Coach? Grade-wise, for example, couldn't have got kicked off the team for fighting or suspension, those types of things. Participate as a varsity player, 3 games. Now for me, participate is, if they're on that, this is varsity letter here, okay? If they're out there on the field, and they may not get in on a kickoff, but we thought enough that they could participate in that game. We had them on the roster for that game. That counts, okay? Whether they get in on kickoff team one play or not, it's irrelevant. If we think enough of them to put them on our roster on game day, that counts, okay? And I will be able to track that. That's no problem. Or if we think enough of them as a JV player and pull them up to the varsity at the end of the season, and they get to play, even if it's just one play on a kickoff or kick return team, I will give them a varsity letter for that. But I won't give it to them if I just pull them up and they never get used. For me, it's just a good experience, okay? All right. There are certain situations where a player may not get to play any regular season games and they get injured. We unfortunately had a very good player last year have that happen to him. You know, I think you give that kid a letter, okay? They're out there working their tail off. They just can't play. Through no fault of their own, they're injured. That player's going to get a letter, okay? So I'm not here to mess anybody over with the varsity letters. I know it's important for resumes and scholarships and things like that. We're not here to do the kids wrong, but there has to be, it can't be a thing that you just participate and you get the varsity letter. It just doesn't work that way, okay? You get a JV letter, finish the season in good standing, participate in 3 games as a JV player. So you could be, theoretically, on JV all year and still get a varsity letter if we were to pull you out and you played in a playoff game, okay? The rest of that, I think, is self-explanatory. Did I miss anything? Next slide. Is this the last slide? All right. Braille help. Again, I beseech you, please help out. I can't do it all. My wife, I love her to death. She's not a team mom type person. She will help out where she can. She'll be the first one to bake goods and bring them to the concession stand and help clean up and stuff like that. She didn't even come watch my own football games when I played. She was worried, okay? I'll be out there periodically, but I know I can't count on her, and she works full-time in a thrift store and has kids, just like most of you guys do. She works her tail off, too. And I'm not going to ask her to be my team mom. And that's why I know one person can't do it anyway. And I said, well, it'd be great if we could get just a group of people. That way, if somebody misses, other people can fill in. And that's kind of what I was hoping that would happen. I know we have some people that did certain duties last year that I know I can count on. Mr. McGarrow was fantastic about getting film on a huddle for us so that we could break down stuff over the weekend. And he was like every game, he'd film for us when he had to. But honestly, I know he wants to watch his son play. I would too. And you just don't get to really watch him play when you're filming and you have to watch other things. Okay? It takes enjoyment out of it. It'd be nice if I could have somebody that I had on a consistent basis, hopefully could travel with us. Okay? I could probably arrange to get him on the bus as a videographer or something that wouldn't have to drive their own car and just film for us. To get the JV and varsity film, I have the cameras and stuff, and quickly get it to me after the game is over. I could arrange that. It's no problem if somebody could step up and do that. He would do it if nobody else is available, but I understand he wants to watch his kid play ball. And you just don't get a chance to when you're watching through here. You don't get to see everything. There's certain things, filming is not easy to do anyway. So if there's somebody that could do that, I would really appreciate that. Maybe that you could give your name over to the beautiful ladies over here to my right. And once we break off here, they'll talk about spirit wear and concession stand and things like that. Some possible fundraisers. Stats. That's a thing that would help us out a lot. If you can't just get anybody to do football stats. And we don't have football stats like Wiesbaden. Wiesbaden has somebody miraculously that not only does accurate stats, but adds hundreds of yards to it, to the Stars and Stripes. And somehow those players always end up with all-Europe honors because they've ran for so many yards. I don't know who that person is, but I wish we had somebody like that, okay? But we don't, okay? We do a different type of math here, perhaps. Maybe it's AP or something, I don't know. But it'd be great if I had a couple people. It really takes 2 to do it. 1 to spot and 1 to write the stats down. It'd be great if I could have a couple people step up and do stats. In the past, typically Coach Matsky and Coach Taylor is doing it, but they're going to have to be helping me on the sideline, and I can't expect them to be able to do that too. That's a great thing for a parent. If you know what you're doing, I really appreciate if you could step in for that. Okay? Announcer. Who did our announcing before? Is that Dr.
We had Mr. Blankenship, but he had somebody else there. We had a parent too.
Yeah, it'd be great if we. Can you hook us up? Can you do it? All right, good deal, good deal. And I apologize. I don't know who everybody did there. I know Mr. Fink is here somewhere. I saw him earlier. Mr. Fink. Mr. Fink's always been real helpful with the chain crew, and it takes a couple other guys to do it. I don't know if he's available all the time, but it'd be great if a couple people could work with Mr. Fink. He's already talked about that. If I understood you right, sir. Yes, sir. a couple other people to help him out with the chain crew. You got sideline stuff. You can hear the ins and outs. It's like Hard Knocks on the TV where you're getting the down and dirty stuff of what's going on the sideline, the strategies and stuff like that. Plus, you can spy on the other team's stuff and send it to me at halftime. That'd be much appreciated. Anyway, I think athletic director takes care of signing in the ambulance and stuff like that. Is there anything else, Coach? Did I miss anything?
I don't think so, but let's give the
Yes.
ladies a chance.
Yes. If you have any questions, I'll stay after here because I have to help clean up too. But I'd love to meet you. If I haven't met you already, it'd be nice to shake your hand, look you in the face, and say, hey, I appreciate. And I really want to say this, and I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I'm a very straight shooter. There's no gray area with Coach Rapp. It's black or white. You like me or you don't like me. Either way, I'm fine. Okay? I'm fine with that. But what was I going to say? I have ADHD too, by the way. I'm sure it wasn't that important.